All right, hi guys. Dr. Dennis Lesniak here at home. So I'm in the bedroom, or our guest bedroom, for a couple of reasons. One, working from home today. My girlfriend's downstairs. She's on a meeting. I'm up here trying to get this video in for you guys. What does that make you think of? Right? And I'm laying on my stomach on purpose. So we did do a video about breathing, and there was some really good feedback from it. However, I think there's some more important points to bring out, and the importance of it I'm just trying to carefully position so you guys don't end up with sun in your eyes. And I haven't shaved in like 4 days because I have to do a bunch of presentations tomorrow and look like an adult. So breathing, and maybe we can talk about meditation, mindfulness. Maybe those are some scary words. So I'm going to talk about this in a few different concepts and ways that I think it's helpful. So outside of being a chiropractor and having my master's degree in nutrition, I have a bachelor's degree in exercise science, and I have been an owner and operator of a gym for over a decade. And I have been, working with athletes of all abilities, shapes, sizes, weights, capacities. We do a lot of exercise that it's of high intensity. And a lot of times I do ask people lots of different questions when we're working out to bring awareness to what they're doing. And a very common question I ask people when they start breathing heavily in a workout, there are times when breathing heavy is really necessary and important, and sometimes it's not. And so then I ask them, when I think they're breathing maybe heavier or more labored than they should be, I'll ask, are you breathing heavy because you need to, or just because it's uncomfortable? And a lot of times they will pause, and then everything just kind of relaxes. Labored breathing, stressful breathing, chest and neck breathing, those are stress responses. We get a trigger, and then that is the behavior that we enact, and then it creates a response. Okay. And so we use that in an athletic situation, but that applies everywhere. So we were talking about belly breathing the other day, and for some people, I think that could be a bit of a challenge when they're first starting out. I actually did some talks with teenagers, and they had some challenges, some of them with it. So we're going to do what is called crocodile breathing. So I'm laying on my stomach on the bed as an example of how to execute another breathing exercise. So with this exercise, remember we talked about how our breath should primarily come from the movement of the belly or the stomach. So what's happening internally, our lungs are able to take air in from negative pressure when our diaphragm compresses down. And when that diaphragm compresses down, it's below our lungs. It pushes down. That's why the belly gets bigger. We're making space to allow the lungs to expand. So the belly gets big because we're changing pressure and volume, or trying not to change the volume, but we're changing that pressure to allow air into our lungs. Then when we breathe in, that diaphragm goes back up, and then that air comes out. Some people will breathe from the chest. Now, those are secondary or accessory respiratory muscles. They're okay to use when necessary, but if they become our primary breathers, we actually get a weaker diaphragm. It's a muscle. It needs to work. And we have a multitude of other issues and stress responses that happen with that. So this laying on the stomach is going to provide us a way to work on our belly breathing and get instantaneous tactile feedback, meaning the mattress is going to provide me feedback. You can do this with your head up. I like to have people do it with their head down, resting on their forehead like this, okay? With the head resting down, it makes it easier for you to really feel where that breath is coming from. Ideally, we would be breathing in through the nose and then out through the mouth. If you can't do it that way for now, that's okay. Remember, our primary focus is to do the belly breathing, that we are focusing on breathing from the stomach. So as you breathe in, You're pushing that belly down into the mattress, and the mattress is better to use to start instead of the ground, because the ground might be a little too resistant, right? It's harder. And that could prevent you from being able to really take a good deep breath in. So I take my breath in. You can see there's a little bit of an expansion, and then I breathe out. And you notice I work on a slower breath, okay? The more control we have over the breathing, the better control we're going to have over our heart rate. That's another thing that's really important, especially with cardiovascular exercise like running. We work on breath control to modulate our heart rate. Is it perfect? No, you can't sprint as hard as you can. You'd be like, well, I'm going to breathe slow, and that's going to keep my heart rate down. It doesn't work that great, but it could take your heart rate down 5 or 10%, and that's a huge difference. Speaking of the nose and the mouth, a couple of other things that are extremely important, especially when we are stressed. There's two things that I like to do when I find, and they're kind of related, when I find I'm stressed. Same thing is true with my girlfriend. When she is stressed, I know she clenches. So I do not know if you are aware, and I found this out from my dentist a few years back, our teeth should never touch. So when your mouth is closed, your teeth should be apart. They shouldn't be like this, okay? So never should we have that happening. Obviously, when you smile, you may have your teeth touching, but we shouldn't be exuding pressure down on our teeth. That clenches the masseter, the buccinator, temporalis, all of these muscles that are gonna be stressful. And that's true when you're working out, lifting heavy weights. That shouldn't happen. If you find yourself feeling pretty stressed and you are a person who clenches, or you're like, holy cow, I was today years old when I found out I shouldn't have my teeth touching together. A nice little thing you can do is take your tongue and kind of gently or moderate firmness push into the roof of your mouth and work on some breathing there. It's a little challenging, but what that does is it alleviates some of that pressure. You can't really put pressure down and clench if you're driving your tongue up. So if you feel the urge to clench down, my recommendation there is going to be to do 10 seconds of driving that tongue up into the roof of your mouth, and that can help get rid of that urge to clench, right? So we talk about trigger behavior, and then we have that response. So if you feel triggered to clench, right, then let's do the tongue drive up and create a new habit, new loop, okay? So we talked about a couple times ago, the belly breathing, right? So if you weren't sure how that worked or you weren't successful with it, this crocodile breathing, very similar concept. Maybe you're like, dude, this is more than I can handle. I can't change how I breathe. That's fine. What we can do is bring a little bit more awareness to our breathing and not really give you something tremendous to think about, okay? So what can we do here? So we take our hand, and basically what we do is we trace up one side of the hand, of the finger, and then down the other, up one, down the other, up one, down the other, up one, down the other. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna trace and breathe. So what this is giving us is it's giving us a few different senses working in tandem to kind of bring awareness to the situation. You might call that mindfulness. You might call that a meditative state, whatever you want to call it. But so the way it would work is we're going to inhale up one side and then exhale on the other. Inhale up one side, exhale the other. Now, the amount of distance and speed of which you cover your fingers, that's up to you. But it's all the way down and an all the way back exercise. So we'll just go through a couple of breaths. So I'm going to go in and then out. And then I'm coming up, in, out. long one. And then we would go back. So you don't have to do any counting. You don't have to do any focusing on any of that. And it just kind of allows you, because a lot of people are really stressed when they're in these situations where they're trying to focus on their breath, and your brain just gets jammed full of all the stress, and thinking about things becomes really hard. Tracing doesn't require a lot of thought, okay? That tracing is something that it can be easily done, okay? So we talked about that. We talked about a lot of stuff already so far today. So we're trying to jam pack this video with some good stuff for you guys. So that is really important to help us just deal with any stressful situations. And again, with everything going on right now, I think this is warranting multiple efforts in understanding this. So we talked about it in regards to exercise, and we talked about it in regards to stressful situations. And lastly, we've talked about sleep, had a really good response from sleep. We talked about things that help with sleep, changing the temperature of the room, darkening the room with some like blackout curtains and stuff like that. Another thing to help you, counting sheep, breathing, okay? So really bringing attention to your breath when you're sleeping helps to, again, just bring awareness to your presence. And that's where we become very calm in being present, right? Not trying to get too philosophical or anything like that, but being present, being in the moment, being where you are helps prevent you from, staying up at night thinking about things and worrying. There is a phrase that, anxiety is living in the future and depression is being stuck in the past, and happiness is found in being in the present. And it is true, right? If we spend too much time worrying about the past or the future, it's tough, it's challenging. So you deal with what's in front of you as we're going through that, and you can bring awareness with that 5-finger breathing, right? We have the crocodile breathing. We have the belly breathing, okay? They're all kind of different takes on the same concept and idea. Don't forget to not have your teeth touching. Put your tongue up into the roof of your mouth if you need that little break or breather with that. And then, listen, give us feedback. Let us know what you guys would like to hear us talk about. Comments are always helpful and welcomed. I do hope that people are finding some positive benefits from these videos. And who knows, maybe next time we'll be at a different location. All right, have a great day. Shoot us any messages if you have any questions, and we will do our best to help you guys out.